Hey, well, oh dear, I'm going to be starting this one off a little bit differently instead of the typical intro. In case you don't know who I am, I'm ThrashManiac99. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. And, well, unfortunately, I did a thing, and, well, don't really expect very much praise about this. This is actually going to be somewhat of a trolling review, but I am here to talk about the latest offering from Sleep Token, Even in Arcadia. This also came out on May 9th, this time on RCA Records, and this is the band's fourth studio full-length overall. Yeah, basically this band has been everywhere. Like, they're almost inescapable in terms of, like, seeing the name. Granted, prior to this album, I had not listened to a full song by this band. The only thing that I was familiar with about this band was that clip when they were playing in Australia where the singer, Vessel, is doing like this croon piano sullen moment, and then someone rips a massive fart in the crowd, and you could hear people laugh and a dude saying, "Dude." Like, that's pretty much the most entertaining aspect about this band to me, was that fart at that show. But I keep seeing so many people put this band out there, and I've seen this band get brought up even in broader metal circles. So I figured, okay, well, initially I was going to skip this because I was actually wanting to review the new La Cabria album, which was a debut, but I couldn't find it anywhere, and I'm like, okay, I need to do at least one more review, and, well, I figured I might as well get them clicks from the Sleep Token fans when it comes down to it. So I figured, okay, maybe I'll be wrong about this band and see how I feel. Well, okay, full disclosure, there were tiny pockets of moments on this album that I didn't mind, but the majority of this album, I was just questioning myself, why in the hell did I put myself through this? This album's also long, too. It's nearly an hour long, and I feel like a lot of this could have been whittled down to like a 30-minute album, and I think it would have benefited it a little bit more. I wouldn't say it would have made the album that much better, but at least it would have been a shorter album to get through and not have to log through a lot of this stuff that they're doing. So, for those who are unfamiliar, at least in terms of their music, they're described as, oh god, like alternative metal. I guess people want to call them a gent band, even though, again, gent is not a genre, it's just 8-string guitars. That's all it is, people. And I've even some people call them a prog band or a post-metal band, and even like alternative R&B. And I'm thinking, oh boy, what am I about to get myself into? Now, they like to say that they're blending genres together, but it comes across more like genre mashing. Now, there are, of course, a ton of bands who have done that whole genre blending style very well. The biggest one being Faith No More, mixing metal and hip hop and alternative rock and, like, at times soul and other aspects, but they do it in such a clever way that it's hard to dislike Faith No More. Whereas this band, it's like they're just mashing a bunch of opposing genres and trying to see. It's like you're basically taking spaghetti out of the boiling water and throwing it at the wall to see how much of it is going to stick, and maybe like 3 or 4 noodles out of 100 stuck, if any at all. But to kick things off, we have Look to Windward, and, well, it starts off almost like as if I'm in an 8-bit video game. Like, the electronic aspects made me think, am I listening to like a Super Mario soundtrack all of a sudden? And then you get Vessel's voice coming in, and, well, I can definitely see where Necrotic Nick was coming from when he did the review of their last album, which, by the way, I did not listen to, nor do I plan to, where, yeah, his vocals kind of come across as, like, just fuckboy energy, like, oh, girl, I want to get in your pants, and that's basically that style. But granted, his voice isn't bad, but oh my god, all throughout this album, there's like bad vocal effects. There's definitely moments of auto tune and weird filters to kind of make him sound menacing, but the only thing menacing about him is just how much your ears are going to be destroyed by how bad these effects and auto tune moments are. And then as he's singing, I mean, I understand this band is from England, so obviously the accent's going to be there, but instead of saying shadows, he says shandos, it sounded like he said. And that comes across later in the song Provider, where he's trying to say I'm a writer, but it comes out as mall writer, like he's saying I'm all right, just to make it sound like it rhymes with provider. Like he was just rhyming stuff for the sake of it on this song. It's felt like, even though I read the lyrics and yeah, they do rhyme, but the way in which his delivery comes across, it just sounds like he's just hamming it up for the sake of it. It felt like. But anyways, back to the opening track, and man, that opening part, like the first half of the song really drags. Like it's just those electronics and strings, and they sound really processed. And oh my god, the fucking lyric where he says, "Can you halt this eclipse in me?" It's like, oh my god, he just repeats that over and over again. It's like, no, I will not halt this eclipse in you. In fact, I hope the eclipse happens so we don't have to see you. And then whenever the song does pick up into a heavier sound, it just feels like generic crap to me. And then, of course, there's like hip hop delivery, and oh my god, across the board on this album, especially in the first half, there's like legit hip hop beats, and like that his vocal delivery kind of almost feels like he's rapping even though he's not. But then we go into the song Emergence, which honestly wasn't a terrible song. Like it starts off kind of cool with the piano and clean guitars, and it overall wasn't bad. But then you get those bad filter effects on his vocals and more of the hip hop delivery. And then it does get heavier, but it's almost like a less heavier periphery almost, like the guitars and the breakdowns. Like any breakdown that comes up on here, I immediately think of Periphery, only not nearly as good. And the outro was pretty much, I think, the best part of this song. It was like jazzy with saxophone and piano. I actually liked how the song ended, other than just wishing the song would be over. I mean, but again, the song itself does have its lush moments, and it's not bad, but it did get ruined by the filter effects and the hip-hop delivery. It's like, if you would have just left those out, I would have said this was a decent song, but those moments kind of ruin it in my mind. And then we get into Past Self, which honestly I feel like should be a metaphor for I wish I can revisit my past self before deciding to listen to this album and slap myself in the face and be like, no, you're better off not even talking about this. But I suffered through this. And this song, oh god, it's the shortest song in the album at 3.5 minutes, but it's too much vocals and it's all electronic and it's like bad R&B and hip-hop. Just... oh god, this is one of the cringiest things I have heard in quite some time. And then, just when I thought it couldn't get more cringy, then we go into the song Dangerous, which it does start off okay with a clean guitar melody. And this is really where I heard a lot of auto-tune on the vocals, and then of course you get more hip-hop and R&B bullshit. And then the guitars come in, but it feels more like generic butt rock rather than metal. Like, I'll touch more about that when I get to the end of this. But yeah, the only thing dangerous about this song is how bad it is. And then Caramel, it does start off kind of whimsical, but then again you get those bad R&B and hip-hop beats. And while the drums come in pretty nicely, the vocals again just feel like I'm listening to modern hip-hop and not the good kind. And then whenever the guitars and everything else comes in, it feels like third-rate Breaking Benjamin. And there's even blast beats that show up towards the end, which I'm like, okay, are they really trying to win me over with blast beats? If they were, it didn't work, buddy. But yeah, just when I thought it couldn't get, or, oh God, just when I thought the lyrics couldn't get worse, the song itself just feels like total, like, I want to seduce a girl and I want to get in her pants and make her spew all over the place. I don't think any girl should listen to this even with a 15-foot pole. And I'll talk more about that when I get to the end of this review. But then we get into the second half of the album, which honestly does get a tiny bit better, and I only mean by a grain of sand better. Like, the title track actually was maybe the best song on the album. Like, it's actually a tolerable song, and it's more or less like a piano and violin dirge, and it's actually kind of an earnest song about somebody who passed away and wishing you could reunite with them. So it's like the song itself isn't bad. Starts off with almost, it sounds like 1940s music sounds, and then it's piano and electronic dynamics and a violin at the end, which the violin was pretty. And the vocals, one of the only times I could tolerate the vocals. I mean, he tries to croon, and it's not the worst attempt, but it's nowhere near the best. And then we get back to the song Provider, which I've already talked about how he hammed up some of the words. Starts off with an organ, and then, again, bad vocal effects, mostly electronics, and then generic riffs and a bland breakdown. And the lyrics, like, asking over and over, you can give me what I want. You can give me what I want? How about I get my 56 minutes back from even listening to this album? And then we get into Damocles, which the vocals are better-ish. And the song itself starts off with some piano, and then there's some clean guitars, but then you get drum parts on here that sound like they were played on electronic drum kit. And then when the natural drums come in, like, there are little spurts of cool drum patterns on this song, but it's not enough to save it. Like, the riffs themselves just feel like butt rock again. And then Gethsemane, this one, oh God, we're back to some more cringe. Like, this song feels like a cringy love song. Like, it almost feels like they're trying to go for like a romantic BDSM vibe, and they failed on every home front. If you want to listen to a good romantic BDSM metal song, listen to Be My Judas by Typo Negative. That's far superior than this crap. And then, I mean, there are some cool moments musically on the song, like twangy clean guitars that almost feel like they're trying to worship the altar of John Frusciante from Red Hot Chili Peppers, and it's on top of some proggy time signature shifts, and there's some tasty drums, but again, you get more bland periphery moments. And while you do get a heavier moment, maybe the heaviest moment of the album, that's as close as to metal you can get on this album, is this one riff that shows up. And then we're back to the bad hip-hop delivery and the vocal patterns, and then just repeating cringy love lyrics like, do you want to hurt me? And I'm thinking, do I want to hurt you? Probably. I would take a rusty pipe and shove it up your ass. That's how I felt about this song. And then we get to the closer, the longest track of the album at 8.5 minutes, Infinite Baths. And the song itself isn't horrible. Again, you do have some like eerie ambience at the beginning before it kind of goes full circle back to the opening track where you get like 8-bit electronic flourishes. And again, the vocals are a little bit better, but that's not really saying much. And then, of course, the song itself just has a lot of butt rock riffs. The chorus was meh to okay. And then the final breakdown at the end wasn't the worst breakdown of the album. In fact, it was probably the best one. And even at that, it was okay at best and average at worst. But yeah, basically musically, it felt like they were mixing, like modern pop, modern R&B with Breaking Benjamin, Bad Wolves, and I guess also some Periphery in there, and it just fails at a lot of this on here. And then, of course, one of my biggest gripes with this band is how many girls are seemingly into this, which again, I guess I see why, just because Vessel's vocals are coming across like fuckboy vocals. And I guess to some women who I think have some questionable music tastes, like that because it makes them wet somehow. And I'm thinking, if you want to listen to someone that can seduce you vocally, how about you listen to Peter Steele from Typo Negative or Chino Moreno from the Deftones? They could probably do a better job than Vessel can. I am dead serious. Especially Peter Steele. But I mean, overall, like, there are little moments on here that I thought were okay to pretty decent. But even at that, they're few and far between. And I know this band has been kind of appealing to some people in the metal circles. However, I will go ahead and flat out say it. There is not enough on this album that I would even consider metal at its bare minimum. I know that might come across as a little gatekeepy and such, but I mean, I'm legit serious. Like, the heaviest part on here was in Gethsemane, where it was a breakdown, but it wasn't even the best moment on the album. And on top of that, yeah, you do have breakdowns and occasional screaming vocals, but when it's really heavy, it feels more like a hard rock heavy. Like, I will agree with Necrotic Nick on this one that, yeah, it does feel more like a hard rock heavy, like modern hard rock, not even like 2000s on back hard rock, like modern hard rock where it almost sounds too processed. That's really what it is. Like, and I will say it here as well, Ghost is more metal than this band. Man, to grade this, well, and actually, I completely forgot to mention one more thing about Infinite Baths. There's a lyric on there that says, silent like a supermodel, and I'm thinking, who, Brie Larson? And she's not even a supermodel, but if she was, she'd be silent because who the hell would give a shit about her? I don't. But to grade this album, and I know this review's gone on for a long time, but I had a lot to say about this band and this album, so that's why this went nearly 20 minutes. Well, I can only give this a 1 star. This is just cringy and not really put together all that well. Again, there are little tiny moments that I did appreciate but didn't love, and those were few and far between. Yeah, this is probably going to be the only Sleep Token album I will ever listen to. But if you like this, I'm sorry. Not about what I said, but people who like this. But if you enjoy this, then fine. Go out there, play it to your heart's content. I am never going to listen to this album ever again. And I probably won't talk about this band again unless I feel like making more jokes when they do another bad album. But yeah, this is probably the meanest thing I have said in any review thus far. But I mean, again, this was pretty much a troll review, and I felt like I had no choice but to talk about this because I was like, well, what else am I going to talk about? There wasn't anything else, and also I don't do EPs or whatever, but yeah, this just was not for me. At least it's better than Five Finger Death Punch. I will give them credit there. At least they're better than Five Finger Death Punch, which even that's not saying much. But anyways, again, but of course, it's just my personal opinion. What did you guys think? I am definitely going to look forward to the comments on this. Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Well, maybe not the diehard Sleep Token fans are probably going to mass dislike this video to death, and you know what? I'm just going to say it. It's going to be hilarious, but yeah, I know I've probably pissed off a lot of people, mostly girls. You know who you are. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and until next time, keep your horns high and your dreams wet.